Tua Tagovailoa. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rivalz podcast, the podcast where two friends who are fans of rival teams talk about sports. We're your hosts, Drew and Noah, and today we're going to talk about the possible quarterback offseason moves this summer. So, here, to start things off, here's a list of teams that could get possible quarterbacks. At the top of the list are the Jaguars and the Jets. Jaguars obviously probably going to get Trevor Lawrence with the first pick, and the Jets, they could get Justin Fields or trade their pick. A lot of possibilities with the Jets. The Lions, Matthew Stafford recently requested a trade, so Lions need a spot. And the Texans, obviously Deshaun Watson is
that's where we bring you to this. Deshaun Watson here going on screen. Here are the top three teams in our opinion for these few quarterbacks who we think they're going to go to. So obviously number one is the Jets. Recent interest in the Jets. So, and then
number two,
our number two spot, the Dolphins. And then we got the 49ers.
At number three.
Yeah, that's number three. And then Jets, possible deal with the Jets is the Jets would be able to get Deshaun Watson and the Texans round 5 pick from this year. And the Texans would receive a 2021 round 1 pick, and it would be number 2. And then 2021 round 1 pick 23. And quarterback Brian Poole as a sign-in trade.
Cornerback.
Yeah, cornerback.
And another thing, basically if the Texans wanted a quarterback from the Jets, they're basically getting Justin Fields, whatever they want with pick 23, and Brian Poole, cornerback Brian Poole, as a sign-in trade. So a sign. Yeah, it has to be a sign-in trade since Brian Poole's contract is expiring this year. So keep that in mind. And also now next up is the Dolphins. Dolphins. This is a pretty straightforward one. Dolphins received Deshaun Watson, just only him, and the Texans received Tua Tagovailoa. I can't really pronounce his name. I haven't watched many Dolphins games this year, but we're just gonna call him Tua. They get Tua for Deshaun Watson, and the Texans also receive a 2021 round 1 pick 18. The 18th pick in the draft, which is a pretty valuable pick. You know, they could pick a defensive, someone on defense. You know, a corner would be good for the Texans. But Tua would go to the Texans. Dolphins would become contenders actually with this new quarterback, as they just missed the playoffs this year.
Obviously they had a few losses where Tua cost them points, and I wouldn't call it a game, but rookie mistakes, obviously. Obviously, this is hypothetical. It could very likely to happen, but at the same time, they could stick with Tua, and he could be their franchise quarterback.
And the Texans are in rebuild mode at this point, and I think Tua could be a good quarterback for their future.
Yes.
Next up, 49ers, with Deshaun Watson coming to them and a 2022 5th-round pick to the Niners. And for the Texans, they receive Jimmy Garoppolo, and 2021 round 1 pick 12, 2021 round 3 pick, and 2022 round 1 pick. I think Jimmy Garoppolo would have to agree to be traded for this to happen. He has a no trade clause. So this is why we put him at 3. It could happen, could not happen. Really depends on Jimmy Garoppolo. But we think we threw in the 2022 first round pick because, well, if they get Deshaun Watson, the 49ers are going to become contenders, and that's going to be a pretty low pick in the first round. Round pick 1, pick 12, obviously. I mean, Deshaun Watson's worth all of these picks. And round 3 pick. So, that's Deshaun Watson for you. There was a lot of spots he could land. This was just our opinion.
Yes, and obviously, for all we know, he won't go to any of these teams. But these are just based on lots of facts and interest. So these are the teams we think he would go to. Okay.
Yeah.
Now our next quarterback who could possibly be traded is Matthew Stafford. We have him going as the number one spot for him to go would be the Colts. Colts need a quarterback. Phillip Rivers' retirement, it cost him, and then Jacoby Brissett, becoming a free agent this year, that's going to hurt him if they don't re-sign him. They're stuck with Jacob Eason, who hasn't had any experience in the NFL, really. Just a third-string quarterback. And so that's why we put Colts as number one, which should be very likely. And number two, Patriots. Patriots, obviously, have Cam Newton gone, long gone after the Tom Brady days. And three, it's the 49ers, because this one is very unlikely. We just had to throw in another team because there weren't many teams who he would likely go to. Because the 49ers, this would only be if Jimmy G left, was traded away. So, Obviously, here are some possible deals that we came up with. Colts would receive Matt Stafford and Mohamed Sanu in a sign-in trade. Mohamed Sanu, obviously, free agent this year. They would have to re-sign him, give him to the Colts. And the Lions would receive Mark Lewinsky, a 2021 round 1 pick, and it would be the 21st pick, and a 2021 round 3 pick, and that would be pick 85. And the Patriots, this is the trade that would happen with the Patriots hypothetically, is Patriots only receive Matthew Stafford, and Lions would receive Adrian Phillips, a 2021 round 4 pick, and a 2021 round 5 pick, which would be 142.
Yes. One more, just to add to the Patriots trade. The Adrian Phillips would be a great addition to the Lions, as their safeties are, kind of below average safeties, but I think Adrian Phillips would bring a little bit to their team. Same thing with the Colts deal. They get Mark Lewinsky. He's a guard on the Colts, if you didn't know, and the Lions are lacking at that position, and so we think that could be a pretty realistic trade for them to do.
Yes, it would really help with the Lions, because the Lions have leading the charge in the O-line is Frank Ragnow, Pro Bowler this season. Him and Mark Lewinsky, if they led the charge together, that would be a pretty darn good offensive line, and then they have a few young guys. And so that's that. Those are those two. And then here, final one. Obviously, this one of the most unlikely out of all of them, but there weren't many other teams who seemed to have an interest in Matthew Stafford. 49ers would receive Matthew Stafford, and then the Lions would get a 2021 round 1 pick, and it would be the 12th pick in the draft, and then a 2021 round 2 pick 43.
Yeah.
So those are the three. Matthew Stafford, obviously, has been in the league for over a decade with the Lions. Obviously, hasn't had the success he'd like, but he'll be on the move most likely. Obviously, demanding a trade and requesting it.
And the Lions did comply. They did say that they'll part ways. But also the 49ers deal, it's an interesting one for the 49ers. I think that would be a win-win for both teams, as if the 49ers don't get a different quarterback this offseason. Matt Stafford, has veteran presence. He's a very experienced player. I don't think he's made the playoffs entire career.
Yeah, has made the playoffs only not many times. I'm pretty sure 2 or 3, but obviously not great. But and part of the season has been not a great O-line. But if he got traded to the Niners, he'd have a really good O-line. So Matthew Stafford, obviously, possibly going to either of these teams. But so those are our thoughts on Matthew Stafford. And then here our next quarterback. Now you can talk about him.
Yep, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, he had he didn't really play as much. He played a little bit, Sam Darnold, this season with the Jets. Jets had a weird quarterback situation going on with Joe Flacco and Sam Darnold at the same he showed highlights that he could be a starting quarterback, but we still haven't seen the consistency from him yet. Like the year before, about I think 2 years ago, he had like a 5 interception game against the Patriots. It was bad, but this one is mostly the 2 of the teams that are on this list we have him as a backup quarterback. And the first team for that is the 49ers. We think Sam Darnold is going to be a quality backup for the 49ers, as he grew up in California, and and then the second trade destination would be the Broncos. The Broncos, he would actually be their starter if he went to the Broncos.
Obviously with the Drew Lock issues, he would move in as the new starter, and he'd probably be. I could see him as doing a good job there. And yeah, like you said before, obviously 2 of these he'd be a backup. The other team he would be a backup most likely is the Raiders. They don't look like they're moving on from Derek Carr, but Derek Carr won't last forever, and Sam Darnold's really young. So when Derek Carr's done, Sam Darnold could move in as a really good starter there and learn from him.
Also, the thing about the Broncos is, you could really put the Broncos on any of these quarterbacks. They have cap space, they have the room, they need a quarterback badly. Well, Drew Lock, I guess. Some people argue that Drew Lock could be their future, but I don't know. I feel like, but the thing is, just if a quarterback, the 2 quarterbacks that we've already mentioned have demanded a trade, and they've shown no interest in going to the Broncos so far. So, Sam Darnold, I think, would probably be. He didn't show interest, but he'd be a quality quarterback for the Broncos. And yeah, the Raiders, Derek Carr, probably going to be their quarterback for the coming years. But it's nice to have a quality backup, just in case.
Yes. Okay. So that's just about going to wrap things up for Sam Darnold.
Well, no. Well, we forgot to go through the trades.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay.
49ers, the first trade is with the 49ers. 49ers receive only Sam Darnold. You'll see from these trades, these aren't very, exciting trades. He's not worth his trade value isn't too high right now. So I'd say, so the first one is the Jets receive 2021 round 4 pick, number 108, and 2022 round 3 pick from the 49ers, and the 49ers just received Sam Darnold. The second trade is the Broncos receive Sam Darnold, and the Jets receive 2021 round 4 pick 105 and 2021 round 5 pick 136. The last trade would be the Raiders, and the Raiders receive Sam Darnold. All of these trades, they just get Sam Darnold straight up, and the Raiders trade to the Jets their 2021 round 6 pick, 79, and cornerback Isaiah Johnson. So, not much of an exciting trade, but we still have to talk about him since.
Yeah, no, the first 2 are more exciting than this, but these were the only 3 quarterbacks who are really likely to be traded, because the rest are nearly all have their contracts up. So, yeah, okay, so here we are now. Dak Prescott, as you see on screen. He is, in our minds, and in most minds, most likely, he is expected to sign with the Patriots, probably. Has already shown interest through the year, obviously. Not just him. Other people have been watching and expect him to possibly sign with the Patriots. It would make most sense out of any of these, because Patriots need a quarterback, a franchise quarterback. Haven't had it since Brady. And he would do just fine. He's a really good quarterback. And I could see him signing a 4-year, $42 million contract with the Patriots. That would make most sense of all of them.
The reason why you could say that the contract is a little bit low in money is because, I feel like the Patriots would want to have a little bit of I think they'd extend him if he plays just like the Dak Prescott we all know. But I mean, he had a very severe injury this past year, and yeah.
Yeah, we would have had it go up, but obviously you never know. It's unknown since he had the injury this year. And the other two teams we have included is the Cowboys and Panthers. Panthers not as likely. They could get him and offer him a 4-year, $36 million contract. That was what we came up with. But the Panthers don't look like they're going to stick with Teddy Bridgewater. Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, as a Vikings fan, I love Teddy. Teddy's the best, but past year he hasn't seemed like the Teddy the Vikings fans all loved back when he.
Yeah, even as a Packers fan, he seems like a nice guy and pretty good player when he's at his best. So yeah, I don't see him signing with the Panthers, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, he could. I mean, Teddy just seems like a backup quarterback in my eyes right now in his career. He used to be he's just the best. I love Teddy. Teddy was just the best when he was on our team.
So yes, he obviously. And then we have the Cowboys. He could re-sign. He says he wants out, but there's been many times where players say they want out, and then they're stuck. They just stay with the team. So we could both see him signing a 2-year, $17 million contract extension with the Cowboys, and maybe if that works, he could be the franchise quarterback still. So obviously, Patriots would be, in our minds, it would be a win-win for both the Patriots and the Cowboys, because the Cowboys would then have an opportunity to get another one of those good quarterback free agents or trade up for someone in the draft maybe. So yeah, those are the places Dak Prescott could land this offseason.
Yeah. The Cowboys, Cowboys, I feel like it's a pretty highlight. There could be, okay, we shouldn't be surprised if he leaves the Cowboys, if they should part ways, but I mean, I know Dallas loves Dak, and he probably loves Dallas too, but I feel like the Patriots is probably a good landing spot for Dak. And another thing about the Patriots, they have the fourth most cap space in the league with a whopping $70.6 million this year.
Yeah.
So that's why they have such a pretty high contract compared to the other teams.
The two teams, here. But obviously, so that's why we said it was a little low, because he's probably worth more. They could extend it and make it bigger, larger. So yeah, that's Dak Prescott. And now we'll move to our final quarterback here on this list, who could be on the move, and that's Cam Newton. And this one was a hard one to discuss and controversial, probably, to most people who will see this. We had him. Obviously, I know, Noah, that you wanted to put him on the Lions, obviously with one, but Broncos, here's why. We put him on the Broncos because obviously Cam Newton is getting older, and the Broncos have had the ability to get an aging quarterback to have a good season or two, and that's what they could do to him because he doesn't have many years left in his career. But that's why we put the Broncos as number one. They need a quarterback really badly, and they haven't been able to fill Peyton Manning's shoes since he retired. So we both agree that the Broncos, he hasn't really shown interest in many teams, but the Broncos would be a good fit for him with all their weapons, with all those wide receiver weapons in the running game of Denver. He could be a perfect franchise quarterback for the next few years and until the end of his career. And then second option.
With the Broncos, just one more thing to add. When we're saying the Broncos they don't have a quarterback, we're not dissing Drew Lock at all, but just like it's hard to see what he'll become. Cam Newton, we already know, You know, Cam Newton is at an interesting point in his career where only like a couple years ago he went to the Super Bowl. After the year after that, the Panthers weren't very good. He was still a decent quarterback at the time. Then year after that, I'm pretty sure he didn't play many games.
Yeah, but he was able to make the playoffs, obviously, they had their one good year with the superstar team after their appearance in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He wasn't the same with Carolina after.
Yeah, after that, and then he got drafted by them. He signed with the Patriots. You could not a great season with the Patriots, to be honest, but, I mean, it was a one-year deal. So
we thought about putting Patriots on this list to extend him, but we don't see the Patriots keeping him. Obviously, but we could be wrong. We could be 100% wrong, but these would be logical teams. Obviously, the last two would be the Lions and Washington. Lions, just pretty straightforward. With Matthew Stafford 100% gonna leave, Cam Newton would be a good fit with that team. And obviously, he would be able to, with young DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson, he could execute a really good run game and successful. And then on to the other team, Washington, he would be reunited with Ron Rivera, his old coach in Carolina, where they had lots of success. And he hasn't shown interest in any of these, but if out of all these three, Broncos would be the most likely. We could see, it would be realistic if he signed with the Broncos, a 2-year, $3 million contract. And then it's just the other two would be the same, just a 2-year, $2.5 million contract with either team. So, anything you'd like to add, Noah?
I honestly think, we couldn't really find many teams that would really fit Cam Newton into their system. But I guess the football team, they're they already have Alex Smith. So, football teams are a very non-likely option. Lions, in my eyes, is a likely option, kind of likely option. And the Broncos are a good option, too. But Cam Newton just, he's an average quarterback. He hasn't returned to his form, and I don't think he will in his career anymore, where he was when he was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to be like the MVP self he was. All he has to do is have a little bit of talent to lead a team to the playoffs and possibly the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't see the Broncos in full rebuild mode right now, because obviously drafting a quarterback a year ago, which was Drew Lock, and then getting a bunch of receiver stars who didn't have great years at all. In fact, they were near the bottom in every stat. They have shown signs that they could be Pro Bowl. All pro receivers. They have the potential to do that. So with Cam Newton on the Broncos, that could be a really good team.
Yes. There were a few quarterbacks that we didn't include in this since
I'll just list them off. A few others we didn't include were Drew Lock, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, and Carson Wentz. We didn't include them because obviously Carson Wentz, he could stay with the Eagles. All these players could stay with the team and are more likely to stay with the team than all of these players we just went through.
A thing that I want to note is, for me, in my opinion, Carson Wentz, I really want him to get out of the Eagles, because I just think they're not utilized. I think he can still be a good quarterback if a team utilizes him the right way. I just feel bad for him. Jared Goff is, it's all speculation around him. You never really know, but
him and Jimmy Garoppolo, speculation. Out of those,
Jimmy Garoppolo, the only reason Jimmy Garoppolo would leave is in one of the trades that we mentioned.
Yes. He has shown no interest in any other team, but if he gets traded and agrees to the trade, that would be the only opportunity, really.
I also, that's probably going to be it for this episode, but I also want to mention, last episode we did say that on Wednesday we do Pro Bowl, Thursday we do an NBA. We have a big NBA episode coming out tomorrow. We spent a lot of time on.
We'll be including a special guest on it.
Yes.
You'll see tomorrow.
But we didn't do Pro Bowl this week just because, entertainment reasons, 1. 2, we just thought, Pro Bowl's going to be announced really like on Super Bowl Sunday. So we're probably going to do that next week because we did put a lot of time into that one, but we kind of quit halfway through, but we're still going to do Pro Bowl probably next week. We just thought this is probably the hottest thing around the league right now, and we wanted to make a video on it.
Everyone wants to hear about this. Obviously, as soon as one of these trades happens, it'll be huge news. We'll obviously make a video on it eventually, in a few weeks possibly. So that's about all.
Yeah, and also for the NBA video tomorrow, we're just gonna talk about the NBA season so far, since it's our first episode. We're not gonna have like a specific topic. We will have something in the title, like, for example, maybe about Ben Simmons, about how he's been an up and down player this season, not performing at his caliber we all thought he would, but anyway.
Thank you all for listening in, and we'll see you tomorrow in our NBA episode.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. See ya.